The human mind, a complex structure, holds incredible power. It can solve intricate problems, create beautiful art, and even change our perception of reality. Our minds operate on two distinct systems, each with its own unique characteristics and functions. System 1, the fast thinker, is automatic and intuitive, often acting on instinct. It's the part of your mind that helps you make split-second decisions. Then there's System 2, the slow, deliberate thinker. This system is logical and methodical, taking its time to analyze and process information. This fascinating duality of the mind is explored in depth in Thinking Fast and Slow, the groundbreaking work by Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman. His insights shed light on how these two systems shape our thoughts, decisions, and ultimately, our lives. So, journey with us as we unravel the secrets of our mind, as explained by Daniel Kahneman. Scene script: imagine you're walking in a forest and you hear rustling leaves behind you. You instantly feel fear and start to run. That's System 1 at work. System 1 is like the hare in the fable of the hare and the tortoise. It's quick off the mark, always ready to leap into action. It's automatic, like your body's reflexes, and it operates with a speed that leaves the tortoise, or in this case, System 2, far behind. You don't have to consciously tell your heart to pump blood or your lungs to take in air. These tasks are handled by the automatic functions of your body, and in much the same way, System 1 handles certain mental tasks. But System 1 is not just about physical reactions. It's also about mental associations and quick judgments. Think about the last time you saw a puppy. You didn't need to deliberate to know that it was adorable. That's System 1, making an automatic emotional judgment. Now consider this scenario. You're driving home late at night, and suddenly a figure darts across your path. You slam on the brakes before you even realize it's just a plastic bag caught in the wind. That's System 1 again, instigating a rapid-fire reaction based on a perceived threat. System 1 is also the master of recognition. When you see a friend's face in a crowd, it's System 1 that identifies them before you're even conscious of it. The same goes for familiar sounds, smells, or tastes. System 1 is responsible for that immediate recognition. But while System 1 is undeniably efficient, it's not infallible. It can be tricked by illusions, misled by stereotypes, and swayed by emotions. Its speed can lead to snap judgments that overlook crucial details. It's like a sprinter who's so focused on the finish line that he misses the hurdles along the way. And sometimes, System 1 is simply too quick for our own good. It can lead us to jump to conclusions, make hasty decisions, or react in ways that aren't always in our best interest. System 1, our mental sprinter, is efficient but can sometimes lead us astray. Now picture yourself deciding whether to buy a house. You consider the location, price, and many other factors before making a decision. Enter System 2. System 2, dear friends, is our inner critic, our deliberate thinker. In contrast to System 1, System 2 is slower, more methodical and logical. It's the system you use when you're solving a complex math problem, writing an essay, or deciding which car to buy. It requires concentration, effort, and it's conscious. This system is like a mental marathon runner. It starts slow, conserves energy, and picks up the pace as it goes along. It's a system of deliberation. It weighs options, it evaluates. It's the system you use when making decisions that have long-term consequences, like choosing a career, deciding on a life partner, or yes, buying a house. But let's delve deeper into the characteristics of System 2. When you're using System 2, you're focusing. You're concentrating on a task that demands your attention. You're not simply reacting, you're contemplating, considering, and reasoning. It's the system that takes over when you're deeply engrossed in a thought-provoking book, or when you're making a persuasive argument. Now let's look at some examples. Picture yourself in a chess tournament, facing a difficult opponent. Every move you make is deliberate, calculated. That's System 2 at work. Or consider when you're planning a trip. You research the destination, compare flight prices, decide on the best time to go. That's System 2 in action. But despite its logical prowess, System 2 has its own drawbacks. It's slow, it's deliberate, it takes time. While System 1 is the sprinter, reacting quickly and instinctively, System 2 is the long-distance runner, slow and steady. And while this deliberation is often beneficial, it can sometimes be a hindrance. In situations that require a quick decision, System 2 can take too much time, can overthink, and can miss the moment. System 2, our mental marathon runner, is reliable but can sometimes be too slow. Ever wondered why you reach for that chocolate bar even when you know it's not good for your health? It's the interplay of System 1 and System 2. Now let's dive into this fascinating dance. Picture System 1 and System 2 as two musicians in a band. System 1 is the impulsive drummer, setting the rhythm, reacting instinctively. System 2, on the other hand, is the thoughtful pianist, crafting harmonies with deliberation. Together they create the symphony of our thoughts and actions. In a day-to-day scenario, when you see that chocolate bar, System 1 drums out a rhythm of desire. It's tasty, it's comforting, it's immediately gratifying. System 2, however, is a little slower to respond. It's aware of the long-term consequences, the cavities, the extra pounds. But often, before System 2 has fully composed its counter-melody, you've already reached for the chocolate. This is a clear example of conflict between the two systems. But they can also cooperate. Consider driving a car. When you're learning, it's a deliberate process. System 2 is in full swing, carefully coordinating each movement. But after some time, driving becomes second nature. System 1 takes over the wheel, leaving System 2 free to ponder over the mysteries of the universe, or more likely, what you're going to have for dinner. This shift is due to a process called automaticity. System 2's deliberate efforts eventually transform into System 1's automatic responses. It's like teaching the drummer a new beat. At first, it's a conscious effort, but with practice, it becomes instinctive. However, System 2 must remain vigilant. When we're tired or distracted, System 1 can hit the wrong beat or take a wrong turn. That's why we sometimes make irrational decisions or mistakes when we're not fully attentive. In conclusion, the interaction of System 1 and System 2 is a constant, dynamic dance. Sometimes they move in harmony, sometimes they step on each other's toes. But one thing is clear: the dance between System 1 and System 2 shapes our decisions and our lives. Humans, despite being rational beings, often fall prey to biases and fallacies. Why does this happen? Let's delve into the concept of cognitive biases and fallacies, which are essentially mental shortcuts or errors in reasoning that affect our judgments and decisions. They are like optical illusions, but for our mind. These biases often come into play when System 1 is at work, making quick and automatic decisions. One of the most common cognitive biases is the confirmation bias. This is our tendency to favor information that confirms our existing beliefs or values. It's like having a filter in our mind that allows in only the information that aligns with what we already think or feel, while filtering out the rest. This bias can lead to overconfidence in personal beliefs, and can also contribute to polarization in group settings. Then, we have the anchoring bias. This occurs when we rely too heavily on the first piece of information we encounter, the so-called anchor, when making decisions. For instance, if you're negotiating a price, the first number that gets thrown out there tends to have an undue influence on the rest of the negotiation. The availability heuristic is another cognitive trap we often fall into. This is the tendency to overestimate the likelihood of events that come readily to mind. So, if a particular type of event or risk is frequently reported in the media, we may perceive it as being more common or likely than it actually is. These biases and fallacies are not signs of a defective mind, but rather evidence of a mind striving for efficiency. However, they can lead us astray, causing us to make decisions based on inaccurate or incomplete information. So it's important to be aware of these biases and to challenge them when necessary. By understanding these cognitive quirks, we can question our automatic assumptions, pause and engage our System 2 to make more informed and rational decisions. Our minds, although powerful, are not flawless. Recognizing these biases is the first step towards better decisions. So, what can we learn from Kahneman's exploration of the human mind? Quite a lot, it turns out. Our minds operate on two systems: System 1, the fast, intuitive, and automatic mode, and System 2, the slow, deliberate, and logical one. These two systems are constantly interacting, influencing our thoughts, decisions, and actions. But they're not infallible. We've delved into various biases and fallacies that can cloud our judgment. From overconfidence to the anchoring effect, our brains can often lead us astray, making us think we're making rational decisions when in fact we're not. But don't despair. The beauty lies in acknowledging these systems and their inherent flaws. Once we understand how these systems work, we can leverage their strengths and mitigate their weaknesses. Mastering our mind isn't about suppressing System 1 or glorifying System 2. It's about understanding their strengths, their weaknesses, and making them work together for better decision-making. Remember, a mindful mind is a powerful tool.